5 things you need to know about fences in our community. So perhaps you've moved into a new area or you've been living in the same house for a few years now. Whatever the case may be, you're thinking about putting up a fence, either for the safety of having small children around, to keep your pets in, maybe you have an overstepping neighbor, or just for general privacy. Well, today I'm going to share with you 5 things you need to know about fences so that you can avoid any potential problems with the city and with your neighbors. Also, stick around because I'm going to share with you something many are not aware of that could save you thousands of dollars out of pocket. So you've decided you want to install a fence. You know, maybe just a few basics, but you aren't exactly sure what steps to take before you install that fence. Well, here are 5 things you need to know about fences in our community. Number 1, have your property surveyed. Just having a registered survey that's been handed down by previous owners during real estate transactions isn't wise, as it may or may not be accurate. If an older survey is involved, it may be seriously misleading and have outdated information. For future real estate transactions, however, homeowners who are well educated about how to protect their largest investment not only add value to their asset, but it also contributes to the province's orderliness of our land use, planning, and land registry systems. It also contributes to the quality of ownership records. So have your property surveyed and up to date, and don't attempt to guess and then put up a fence. I can assure you, you'll encounter issues between you and your neighbor. Number 2, before applying for a mandatory permit, know your local fence rules first. In Ottawa, you can find these rules here. You'll learn your local fence rules, what you can and cannot do, any height restrictions, material restrictions, and so forth. Number 3, it's good etiquette to give your neighbors heads up. Provided your neighbors are normal and reasonable, it's best to have a conversation beforehand. However, there are neighbors out there that are simply impossible to talk to. But if you can, have a good conversation in advance. Number 4, fence on the property line or fence within the property line. While less margin for error, I always suggest the latter. Also, I prefer owning the entire fence and maintaining the entire fence. You can then avoid the neighbors placing anything on the fence, painting the fence, or leaning anything up against the fence. For the future, it's also easier to own the fence 100% when it's within your property line, especially when it comes to resale. It will be clear who owns it, and it's more appealing to the buyer. But if you decide that the fence should be on the property line, in a perfect world, generally, you and your neighbor agree to split the costs, and you each take care of your own sides. But owning the fence outright within your property line, there won't be arguments regarding the cost to maintain it. It's yours and you will need to maintain it. And more importantly, something to think about, people move. So if you place it on the property line, understand that maybe the new neighbor could become a pain in the... and suddenly fence wars begin. Little tip, but it will take some tact and proper timing. So season your words with salt and show some wisdom on when it is the appropriate time to advise your neighbor that the fence belongs to you. So maybe a friendly welcome with a bottle of wine, and maybe just mention, I'm not sure if your agent made you aware, but with regards to the fence, you don't have to worry about maintaining it as it's on our property line entirely. So if you see that the fence needs repairs, please let me know and I'll be happy to fix it. It's all in the way you word it. Now I'm going to share with you something many are not aware of, which could save you thousands of dollars out of pocket. Insurance. You know, many residents in Ottawa and the surrounding areas were affected by the hazardous windstorm that happened May 21st, and many trees and fences were torn apart, obliterated altogether. But are you aware that most home insurance companies cover fence damage? Fences are generally covered under your detached structure coverage, but it's important that you know what is covered under your policy, as coverage varies between providers. While my home wasn't affected, I had many friends and family that sustained terrible property damage. It was a lesson for me to revisit my home insurance policy with my provider face to face. I made some adjustments to my policy, and now I can sleep well at night knowing exactly what is covered. So there you have it, and thank you for watching the 5 things that you need to know about fences in our wonderful community of Ottawa. And speaking of Ottawa, in my next video, are you thinking about moving here? Well, I'm going to share with you 5 things you need to consider before moving here. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions regarding anything real estate, please drop me a line. We'll see you next time.